Now, let's move on to Operation Epic Fury. At least 12 American service members are hurt, with 2 fighting for their lives after an Iranian missile and drone attack at this airbase in Saudi Arabia.
Our senior correspondent, Mike Tobin, is in Tel Aviv with the latest. Mike.
Good morning, Brian, Rachel, and Griff. Axios is now reporting that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio told his G7 counterparts, foreign ministers, that the war here will continue for another 2 to 4 weeks. That's longer than what the president had projected. And he reportedly said that the U.S. is indeed talking to Iran, but talking through mediators. Part of what they report through sources. Rubio told his G7 counterparts the U.S. doesn't need G7 countries to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but wants allies to join a maritime task force to police the strait after the war is over. Meantime, a month into this stage of the war, and the Houthis are off the sidelines. Israel says a missile fired from Yemen by the Houthis was intercepted. A Houthi spokesman claimed responsibility on their TV channel. The missile was fired in the direction of Israel's main nuclear research center in the southern part of the country. Now, a week ago, 2 missiles from Iran targeted the nuclear facility and got through air defenses. The missiles hit residential areas in Arad and Dimona, resulting in almost 200 injuries at the time. Now, involvement of the Houthis can complicate ship transit in the Red Sea through the Bab el-Mandeb and around the Arabian Peninsula. As the Houthis previously menaced shipping in the Red Sea, the U.S. Dwight D. Eisenhower Carrier Group was previously there to combat Houthi destruction in the Red Sea. As many as 12 U.S. service members are injured after an Iranian attack on U.S. Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. 2 of the injured are said to be in serious condition. A KC-135 mid-air refueler was hit and caught fire. A source says the attack involved both missiles and drones. This, as the president stresses, U.S. and Israel enjoy air superiority over Iran, having destroyed their ground-to-air defenses.
Now we're just going after targets, and they have no anti-aircraft, so we're just floating over the top looking for whatever we want, and we're hitting it, and we have another 3,554 targets left, and that'll be done pretty quickly. And then we, at some point we're going to have to determine what we do, but they've never seen anything like it.
Israel struck a couple of nuclear facilities in Iran. Yesterday, they hit the heavy water reactor near Arak. That facility was struck back in June, but Israel says it played a role in the development of plutonium needed for a nuclear weapon. Israel also struck a uranium extraction plant near Yazd. That is a site where raw uranium came out of the ground, impurities removed, producing yellowcake uranium. Now, that air raid lasted several hours and involved 50 fighter jets from Israel. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mike Tobin, live for us in Tel Aviv. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to be following this war in Iran all morning long, and as well as what's happening in Lebanon. And we'll be speaking with Franklin Graham about what he's doing to help refugees over there. We cannot forget about what's happening in Lebanon right now. So we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, the president has said that when this war is over, and I think one of the most important points we can take from that last clip with Marco Rubio, in that interview, he said, this will end in 2 to 4 weeks. I think the administration is understanding that there's, a limited appetite for this, politically speaking, with midterms coming up, with oil prices, which I want to get into with you, Brian. But 2 to 4 weeks is what they're saying. And the president now says when this war ends in 2 to 4 weeks, he predicts that the economy will be like a rocket ship. Watch.
My first 4 years was the most successful time we've ever had financially in the history of our country. We had an unbelievable success, but this is much better. And by the way, when this war ends, it's going to be like a rocket ship. I thought we were going to go down more, and I thought oil prices were going to go up higher than they are now. It's not finished yet. I'm not saying it's sort of finished, but it's not finished. It's got to be finished. And I thought that we would see a bigger drop in stock. Hasn't been that bad.
Brian, take a look at these oil prices. Why don't you walk us through this? Because I think even as people are complaining right now about prices, they're not as bad as they were under Obama and Biden, even with this war going on.
Well, it shows you the power of drill, baby, drill. Okay, so prices are high. You got West Texas about $100 a barrel right now, which is high, okay? But under Trump, prices have been so low that even now the average price under him is well below any of his predecessors. This is why he can say that the economy can take off like a rocket ship, okay? Because you don't have a supply shock. You don't have a supply problem. You have a movement problem, okay?
Yeah,
and it's
a logistics problem, if you will.
A logistics problem, and it's in one part of the world. So that's not an easy thing to fix, but when you can fix it, when you can secure that strait, you can get energy products moving around the globe again, and we pay a global price. Even though we are a net exporter of energy, a net exporter of oil, we don't consume everything we make. We still import products from overseas. That's a holdover of being a country that used to not be energy independent, right? So that matters. But he is right, and you see little hints of this. When there are hints that things are progressing, talks are happening, maybe ships are getting through the strait, you watch oil move significantly downward. When that can become the rule and not the exception, then I think you're going to see a very strong correction back down of oil prices, and you're going to see the economy kind of coming out of this sort of stall phase that we're in.
But my quick question for you, Brian, is so all three indexes were in the red yesterday afternoon when the markets closed.
Yeah, big time.
Which, by analysis I'm reading, was sort of reacting to this question about whether President Trump may send 10,000 troops. The market here, the rhetoric that the president wants to end it quickly, but yet then you see possible more large troops being sent in that area.
Yeah.
Is the market just reacting to the uncertainty?
It does. I mean, markets hate uncertainty. And if there's a sense that it could get more intense before it gets better, right? If you send in the troops. I don't know what that means, by the way. I'm not the military guy. But the market reads that and says there could be more intensity before things get better. But if you look at longer dated future oil prices, they're actually back down in that $70 range. So what it tells you is the market's betting on a lot of uncertainty right now. But it's betting that this gets sorted, and when it does, all of that abundant supply comes back into the market because the logistics problem is solved, and all of that gets reversed. So there's a big long-term win here. I mean, actually bigger than what we had before. If you can imagine a Middle East where Iran is not a threat, it takes this risk premium out of every energy product in the globe. Right. And that is transformational. But you got to get there by opening up the strait.
Yeah, and we're paying $1 billion a day for it. And so what the president is saying to the allies in NATO is, hey, once we get this secured, we expect you to help with the cost of maintaining this freedom of movement in that place. Yeah. Really quickly before we move on, because we need to get to headlines, the uncertainty also comes because I believe Marco Rubio and the president that they want to end it quickly. It just makes political sense that they would want to do that. I think some of the uncertainty comes from our partner Israel, who every time it seems like we might end it, they do something that sort of expands it. And so there's a little bit of uncertainty there because we're working with someone else. And there's another component there. We're not in this alone. Yeah. And so, we'll see if the president can get them on board with our agenda and we can actually end this quickly.
Coordination.
Coordination is very, and understanding who's in charge is also good.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.